everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. Today we're discussing the top 10 most broken cards in Theros Beyond Death. But before we get into that, I want to remind everybody to join our monthly Brawl tournament. This month is called the Cinnamon Bowl. Link is in the description below. This is a beginner-friendly Brawl tournament with up to $100 in prize pool. We're quickly growing towards the last weekend of every month. Hopefully you can make it, and now let's get into the video. Coming in at number 10, we have Dryad of the Elysian Grove. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, and lands you control are every basic type in addition to their other types. So this is a lot to unpack. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. So that's an Arboreal Grazer trigger that is always in effect. That's amazing. You can ramp out very, very quickly, providing you have a little draw engine behind that so you don't just fold out your hand in lands to the field. And then lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. This is amazing because shock lands require a specific land type or else they'll come in tapped, but this will make all of your lands every type. So your shock lands will never come in tapped, which is absolutely amazing. And then we have different effects that are important as well. So Dryad of the Elysian Grove will make, for instance, Red Presence viable because now every land you play is a swamp, and that's going to allow Dread Presence to trigger, which is really cool. And that's just one example. So in at number 10, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Coming in at number 9, I have Shatter the Sky. Shatter the Sky is a 4-cost sorcery card. Each player who controls a creature with power 4 or greater draws a card, then destroy all creatures. Theros Beyond Death is a very aggro heavy set, and Shatter the Sky helps to defend against that. Mono red, mono white are on a rampage right now, and we really need those field clears like Deafening Clarion, Shattered Sky, Time Wipe as soon as you can possibly get them. Even things like Cry of the Carnarium and Ritual of Soot. They are going to be a must-have in many mid-range and control decks in Theros Beyond Death. So that is my reasoning why Shatter the Sky is in at number 9, because it is a must-have defensive card against many aggro decks right now. Coming in at number 8, we have all of the allied color temples. We're talking Temple of Enlightenment, Temple of Deceit, Temple of Malice, Temple of Abandon, and Temple of Plenty. These are scry lands. They come in tapped, and when they do, you are allowed to scry 1, which is incredible, you guys. Scrying is an amazing way to make sure that you're getting the appropriate draw for your next turn. I recommend to new players that they buy rare lands immediately. It really is going to increase not only the consistency of their decks, but the strength of their deck as well. Because when you're playing tapped lands as a dual-colored Gruul aggro deck, you're not going to be able to ride that mana curve up to your Sarkhan Hellkite like you want on turn 5, right? So it's really important to get that 1-drop, that 2-drop, that 3-drop, and be sure to make the most of those as quickly as possible as you can, especially as aggro decks. There's a little bit of room for error with the control decks, but again, these are why the temples are so handy to have, and dual lands in general, because now the 2-color decks are super playable. The 3-color decks now also become more viable to you, which is really where some of the big power lies. So in at number 8, all of the allied color temples, which we were lucky enough to have reprinted in Theros. We just had the enemy color temples printed in the last set, which is really cool, in M20. So I'm looking forward to all of the amazing land options that we have open to us in Theros Beyond Death. That's why we're moving on to number 7, Woestrider. This is a 3-cost creature horror. It has 3/2 base stats, and when it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. Sacrifice another creature, scry 1, escape for 5, exile 4 other cards from your graveyard, and then Woestrider is going to come back with 2+1/+1 counters on it, and again he's going to re-trigger that goat effect. So this is really cool for a couple reasons. First of all, it's a 2-for-1. You're getting that creature. Secondly, you can sacrifice another creature at instant speed anytime, you guys. That is absolutely incredible. This combos incredibly well with Jund Sacrifice. Mayhem Devil is an absolute beast with this card, and then we have cool things like Nightmare Shepherd to combo with this as well. So a lot of value within Woestrider, one of my favorite black cards of the set, and really good for any sacrifice-based deck. Coming in at number 6, Storm's Wrath. This is a 4-cost red sorcery spell. Storm's Wrath deals 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, you guys. This is incredible. We see this right now in Temur Reclamation, just ruining lives, you guys. This is going to be responsible for more than a few phone calls. Storm's Wrath is incredibly powerful. It deals 4 damage not only to every creature on the field, but each planeswalker. So goodbye planeswalker decks, goodbye aggro decks. I don't know of many white creatures and red creatures that get above 4 toughness. So Storm's Wrath is another great way to balance the playing field in such an aggro heavy build. With this, we reach the halfway point, and in at number 5, Nyx Bloom Ancient. This is a 7-cost green 3 devotion spell. Enchantment creature, elemental, 5/5, so base stats very heavy, but maybe not so great for 7. However, when you take a deeper look, you'll notice if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. That's absolutely incredible, you guys. If you have this stacked with Nissa or stacked with the new Nyx Lotus, you're pumping out mad mana. I cannot even begin to explain how broken this is if you can get it off. We also have things such as Destiny Spinner that will now allow you to tap all of your land for those attackers if you need. So, Nyx Bloom Ancient, one of my favorite cards. This will allow you to put out a 30/30 Krasis, like quickly, you guys. This card is beyond broken if you can get it to execute, like I said. There's so many different things you can use this with. Basically anything that you want mana, you can use this to put out a huge explosion as well if you want. It's not all about the Krasis, even though that is one of the cooler things you can do is draw cards. So, Nyx Bloom Ancient, incredibly broken, coming in at number 5. Moving forward, we have Helio Sun Crown coming in at number 4. This is a legendary enchantment creature, a god, which means he has indestructible, and as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Helioid isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment creature you control. You can also pay 2, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. This is incredible, you guys. We had a powerful white deck before. This takes it to a whole new level. Basically, any creature you want is in a Johnny Strength of the Pride. You can combo this with Daxos, so whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you're gaining life. And then also with Linden, so whenever you attack, you're going to gain life. And this is so much better than Unbreakable Formation, you guys. This is like a permanent Unbreakable Formation in many ways, just for the counter generation. I know it doesn't give you indestructible, but when you have unlimited counters, what is the worry anyways? And then again, you can pay 2 to give another creature lifelink until end of turn, which is going to trigger his +1/+1 ability. So Helio Sun Crown in at number 4, an amazing card that is absolutely breaking the meta right now. In at number 3, we have Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. This is a legendary creature, Elder Giant. He costs 3 and it's a 6/6. What? When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escapes, so maybe it's not so good. However, when Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's incredible, you guys. That is so much value. And then to go even further, you can play it additional times by paying 4 for its escape and exiling 5 cards from your graveyard, which allows it to re-enter and then not be sacrificed so you can get those attacks in. What a broken card. I don't even know where to start with this. You can play this card on top of itself, and it has so much value that you do not even have negative consequences from playing legendary creatures on top of each other. Because it dies, it goes into the graveyard, and then you can escape it again on top of another one if you want. So what I like to do is I attack with my Uro, then once he's tapped, I'll play my new Uro on top of that Uro, and I repeat the process over and over every single turn as long as I can, willing that I have cards to exile. This works great in so many decks, and this is going to be in the meta for a while, you guys. This is why Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, is my pick for number 3 most broken card in Theros Beyond Death. Coming in at number 2, we have Thassa, Deep Dwelling. Another legendary enchantment creature god with indestructible. As long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, Thassa isn't a creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile up to one other target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. You can pay 4, tap another target creature. She is a 6/5 for 4. Oh my god, quite literally, you guys. This is one of my favorite gods of the set. Any card that has an enter the battlefield trigger or effect to it is now an absolute bomb. For example, Elite Guard Mage. When it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life, draw a card. Thassa can trigger that for you every single turn. That is incredible, you guys. That is so much value, and it's not just that. It is any enters the battlefield effect. You could go crazy in Historic and trigger this in with a Chain Whirler to continually wipe the field for 1 damage. What? So there are so many ways to use this, and I'm looking forward to discovering new ones for the rest of time. Thassa used to allow you to scry 1 at the beginning of your upkeep. This is infinitely better than that. Who needs to scry when you can re-enter one of your creatures? It's also good with mill effects. Like, I could go on and on with Thassa Deep Dwelling. That's why it gets my pick as number 2 most broken card in Theros Beyond Death. All right, you guys, thanks for sticking in here with me. We've made it all the way through our cards. We looked at Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Shatter the Sky, all of our temples, Woestrider, Storm's Wrath, Nyx Bloom, Helio Sun Crown, Titan of Nature's Wrath, Thassa Deep Dwelling, and we finally made it to our number 1 pick for most broken card in Theros. I'm sure you've guessed it already because it wasn't in the rest of my list, but it is Dream Trawler. This card costs 6. It costs 2 colorless, 2 plains, and 2 islands, so a little expensive. And when I first seen this card, I was like, nah, maybe it's good for limited. Nuh-uh. This card is good everywhere. It's a 3/5 with flying and lifelink. Whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever Dream Trawler attacks, draw a card, discard a card, Dream Trawler gains hexproof until end of turn, and then tap it. So this card is basically a 5/5 on your phase because you draw a card on your main phase, and then when he attacks, you draw a card. So it's a 5/5 flying lifelink. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's really good in a set that is so aggro eccentric, right? Every deck is just looking to box you out, kill your health points immediately. Dream Trawler is not only a great blocker, but he has great life gain potential as well. You're thinking, okay, that's fine, but why cast 6 for a spell when it's just going to be removed anyways? Well, not only can you discard a card to give it hexproof and protect it, every time you attack, you're drawing a card, so you're never really emptying your hand out. You always have that new card to give it hexproof. So Dream Trawler is my number 1 pick for the most broken card in Theros Beyond Death. What did you guys think of the list? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to get a link so you guys can survey and put your own picks in the link, because I want to see not only what I think, obviously I know that, but I want to know what the rest of you guys think the most broken cards in Theros Beyond Death are. Stay tuned for our next video when we take a look at the top 10 free-to-play cards in Theros Beyond Death. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. A couple quick reminders before we go. Join our Brawl tournament. It happens the last weekend of every month. Join the Discord if you want to continue this discussion. And then we're live on Twitch every single morning, 6 a.m. PST. Thanks again for watching. Take care.